All right, welcome to St. Peter. As you can see, our rack system at St. Peter is much smaller than at the core. This was put in with the church when it was built. What was it now, 13 years ago? And so this, like the core, is the main control system. It wasn't originally like this, but we put in at a later date a QSC core 110F, the exact same unit that's at the core. So similarly, this unit could do the same things. It could freeze up. It could, if there was a power outage and reboot and this screen just showed the logo and got stuck there, that's the same thing I talked about at the core, where Aero AV has a spare one. They have this file for St. Peter as well. They've done work at both of our campuses. So they could be called and replaced if that ever happened. I have never had, unlike the core, I don't think I've had this one like go down where I had to do a hard reset, a reboot. There might have been one time when I was not here where someone called me on the phone, and maybe that did happen once, I'm not sure. So it's very rare, but this is the same type of control system with the touch panel. Again, we wanted to make both campuses identical as we could. So that's why we're using the same system here. So the touch panel works almost the same way, a couple different things that are different from the core, but you should be able to go to both campuses and be familiar with it. That was the goal. This is the AV switch, similar to the core where they have more than one. Here we only need one. It does the control network and the Dante. So we have a isolated control network that all the devices talk to each other, just like at the core. And we also have Dante here, just like at the core, same type of thing. We got it all fit onto one switch here, and there's actually one switch in the booth as well. So there are those two switches. Power, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know what that does. And then amplifiers for the speakers. I believe this amp is for the main speakers, and this amp was provided for if you wanted to do floor monitors. You could plug them in. I think when the building was built, they were thinking choirs might want floor monitors down on the floor to be able to hear the piano. So they had an amp here to drive those speakers. We don't really do that here because I've brought things to in-ear monitors for the most part, and there hasn't been a need because most everything takes place kind of in front of the speakers a little bit. So this amp, to my knowledge, it really is not being used. So, but that I believe was the purpose for that. So you could power floor monitors through the lines that run down to that floor box down there. So this is a wireless receiver for 4 microphones. So it's a quad receiver. It has 4 microphones in one rack mounted space. So this is going to take care of pastor mic, handheld mic, open. So we do have an open space where we could put one more handheld mic. From what I've talked to people, like some people said it'd be okay if we had it, but there's not been a huge need for it. But all we'd have to do is buy a handheld that's compatible with this, and we have an open slot. And when PAD designed the system, they put a fader on there for this in case we ever bought a microphone. So
these are not the band audio.
This wireless. Is not the band. This is just Pastor 1, Pastor 2, and Wireless 3, the microphones that are at the booth, because this is plugged into the Quick Mix system. You think back to the core. This is wired straight into here first, so that then we don't have to turn the audio console when we press the faders on the touch panel. It's controlling volumes here. That's what they do when they come in and turn on the traditional service. They turn it on so that all the mics, this is the mixer. You have to think of like, this is the audio console temporarily, just for a couple microphones. And on the touch panel, you adjust it. So these guys are wired into here first. And then when we switch over to the console mode for the band, these are sent out on Dante because this is a Dante-enabled device. And so this sends those pastor mics out on Dante, which sends that to the board, which we bring it into the board, and that's how we use the pastor mics for the contemporary services. So again, when you do contemporary or traditional here at St. Peter on the touch panel, Traditional we can talk about that when we get back there, but it's starting up in quick mix mode. And when you press contemporary, it's starting up in console mode, where console is the one that's leading the charge.
Okay.
And then this QSC is basically deciding which one of those outputs is getting sent to the speakers in the room. Is it what's coming from the console, which the console is sending a Dante signal back to here, and then that is it's sending to the room. That's what the touch panel is doing. This guy is determining which audio feed is getting sent to the room.
Okay.
It also gets sent to a production line, and now those were a few changes that we had to make because we added a new Dante connection. That's from our live stream audio. A Dante out from there after they mix it is getting sent to here. So now we can select, we want that Dante audio to go to the production feed. That's this guy sending that and turning those volumes on. So this guy, again, this is the brains of everything.
Yeah.
It's controlling what's going where. So that's an important piece. This guy up here, I believe, is the hearing aid system.
Oh, okay.
We did, Pastor Tim got an email that someone was willing to donate some money. So this would be a job. This was on my list after Arrow had finished this. I was going to get a quote on this. For the next person to do is look into upgrading that, because we did have a member who was willing to donate some money to help upgrade it. I think now the modern systems have a Bluetooth that can go straight to people's hearing aids directly in the room. I forget the name of it, but this could be upgraded, and I believe that's what this unit is for.
Is that functioning now?
I think it is, but you have to use a specific earpiece, which I think there are some in the drawers in the Welcome Center. And like a plastic thing that sits on your ear or something, but I think they're just not good, and people aren't using it. I think it might even have a little earbud or something. So I don't know if people are even using it right now. But if we could upgrade to the Bluetooth system that goes straight to people's hearing aids, that'd probably be a good thing. So I would encourage that to be something that the next person looks into.
Would we want that at the core as well?
I don't know. I think we decided not to do that and put that in the plans because we did not have or anticipated a large elderly crowd being there. Most of those people come here to the St. Peter campus for the traditional services. So again, if that starts to grow and if that's something that needs to be, again, I think it's this unit that just takes the pastor mics are somehow fed to it and it sends that signal out. So I have not dived into that, so I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Let me just peek in here just to see if there's anything that rings a bell. So, yeah, this is the back end. There are some conduits that go to various places, but we discovered that these things are super full and it's hard to get any new wiring in there. We did mount 2 new Sennheiser shotgun room mics at the top of the speaker columns. That's what these black wires are. There's one here and there's one that goes there. We had to punch new holes because we wanted those microphones to come into the QSC control first, because we wanted those mics to be able to go for the live stream for the traditional service. So we couldn't patch those into the mixer because then the traditional service can't use it in QuickMix. So we ran new wires and wired it in. I had Arrow wire that in manually into the back here so that those can be utilized and programmed for the live stream for traditional, because the QuickMix is sending that to the live stream for the traditional service. So that's what we did there. And I think we patched a network cable somewhere. I don't remember. So yeah, that's what some of those cables are. Same thing if your core goes offline, this is a manual, unplug and replug if that's an issue. Otherwise, most everything in here is pretty self-explanatory. This one little switch, half of it is divided into control network, half of it is divided into Dante. And there were 2 lines right here that went over to the band's position. These were put in at the beginning of the building. And so that was smart. They had 2 connection points over there for a network that they brought back here. So one of them is used for Dante, for a computer there, and one was used for the control network, I believe. So I can't remember. But yeah,
Okay.
that's about it. Other than that, there's not a ton back here to really be concerned about. So that should do it for this.